new-look football facility, and we'll scout the Buckeyes of Ohio State, the Wolverines' next opponent. All that and more coming up next. Michigan Replay with Bo Schembechler and Jim Brandstatter.
There are a lot of reasons, but I can't believe it. The thing that's so impressive is this was such a great program victory. It was your team that went out there. When some guys went down, somebody's got to come up, play. That's why Horde and Tracy and Bunch, those two young linebackers, went in there and played hard, played well. That's what I'm most proud of. That no matter what happens to us, we got resolve. We'll stay in there. And we've won the championship, a share of the championship, gentlemen. An outright championship. If you recall our goals, there's one other thing we got to do. Let's don't ever forget that. But let's face it, you're Big Ten champions. You're going to the Rose Bowl. You take care of yourself. You got a lot of work to do.
A Michigan Replay exclusive in the locker room after a Rose Bowl clinching win, 38-9 rather, over Illinois. And you took my advice from last week and you got the goal line offense going.
No, we played a real good football game, Jim, and because we didn't turn the ball over at all on offense. And we dominated the game in terms of possession time, which helped our defense a lot. And our defense played well against a great passer.
And also, special thanks to Bob Lipson, our producer, who got the roses for the set. And it started off, the roses...
I wonder if he paid for those with his own money. That's what I'd like to know.
Well, the road to the Rose Bowl started off with the special teams.
That's right. You're absolutely right. Here's Johnny Colasar returning the ball nearly to midfield on the opening kickoff, Jim, and that really helped. However, we were stopped here on a fourth down play, faked the punt. Eric Anderson took the ball on a direct snap from center, ran for the first down.
A calculated gamble that worked, right?
Sure.
Good field position.
That's right. It was a midfield shot and wasn't bad at all. Here, Demetrius Brown hit Chris Callaway in an important pass. Third down on the goal line, and Demetrius once again hits Callaway for the touchdown. And we go up 7-0 on the first drive.
New formation on that. Gave Illinois something brand new.
Right. Right where you told me we weren't scoring on the goal line.
That's exactly right.
We had to do something about it.
I'm glad you took my advice.
Here's an interception by David Arnold. And Jesus, great to see him back in the lineup for us after missing a couple of weeks.
Good to have him back against a passer like Jeff George, too.
Absolutely. However, we did get stopped down here, Jim, and had to go to the field goal. It was one of those 4th and 1, maybe less than 1. You know, you make a decision. I think the most important thing was for us to come away with some points, and so we kicked the field goal.
Well, in a tight game, you got to get the points when they're down there,
That's
when
right.
you're that close, so you might as well take the 3.
It's a beautiful passer, and did a great job on this drive as he moves Illinois down in there. It's difficult to rush him. He has good mobility. He's a big, tall lad and a very quick release and a fine arm. Here he, last minute, dumps the ball over the middle to Keith Jones, their great tailback, who had some big plays for him and got 100 yards on us. This ball was knocked down by Alex Marshall and caught by Jeff George, the quarterback, and that was a 3rd down play. Forced them to go to the field goal, and they kicked it for a 10-3
that was a big
score.
That was a big play too, because they'd been going underneath and you started to knock down passes. Did you tell the defense get their hands up?
Well, he was throwing some low trajectory passes and we were able to do it. Without this run and another run that went for 50 yards, our defense did a sensational job against them. Would have achieved all of their goals. However, they did get 2 long runs on us. Here's a 3rd and 8, and fumbled the ball on the snap from center out of the shotgun, but still got it off to Jones for a first down.
The one thing you wanted to do, though, was stop the run.
Right.
And for the most part, you did. Force them to pass.
Except for those two runs. Here's a fumble by Jones that we get the football and commence a long drive to score here. mostly running. Here's an option play. Pitch to Leroy Horde. Horde bangs his way over the 40 to the 47. I thought Demetrius Brown played mistake-proof game, played very well in there for us. Here, Horde again.
And without Tony Bowles, Leroy Horde did a great job from tailback.
Horde did, and so did Tracy Williams, who runs this ball here for a good game. Both of those guys, I think, accounted for something like 231 yards at tailback.
Good job on the ground, good job in the air. Really, it was one of those situations where even though you were nicked up, you got a lot of things done.
Right.
Probably, did it surprise you a little bit the way the kids played?
No, because I knew they'd come out and play hard. I knew that, you know, I thought it would be a much closer game. I make no bones about that, but I knew they'd come out and play very hard. We'd be difficult to beat at home on the championship hanging in the balance. So once again, George moved them down into contention. They kicked a field goal before the half to make it 17-6 at half.
At halftime, with the way it had gone against the quarterback who looked hot, who was throwing the ball well, you had to feel pleased with a 17-6 lead.
Well, we had an 11-point lead, and but our defense had given up the one long run. And, you know, you never feel secure with a great passer on the other team. And so we talked about that and said we had to go out and stop them in the first drive and then get points on the board quickly.
Well, the defense got it done once again against a great offense, and we'll be back and take a look at the second half defensive stand right after this.
I think there was some pressure. I know I felt some pressure. I think Spence was a little nervous too, but you know, a little bit of nervousness and a little bit of pressure is always good. It's always good. It keeps the adrenaline flowing.
Like all the coaches say, whenever an older guy goes down, a starter goes down, it's got to be somebody younger to step up and try to fill his shoes. And said Eric and I were the guys this week.
They knew what they had to do, and they played terrific. They were great. You know, they just followed what we did, and we helped them. They helped us. They made us look good. And I'm glad. I'm grateful for them. My 5th year, my last home game, and I just had this feeling nothing was going to keep me out of this game, and I'm just glad I got to partake in it, and it's something I'm going to remember the rest of my life.
Well, Mike Hussar kind of typifies the kind of day it was for Michigan. Nicked up, went off the field last week against Minnesota with a bad knee, and yet comes in there to Saturday against the Illini and does a great job up front.
I really
You needed him.
Yeah, I needed him. I really shouldn't have played him because he didn't practice on Tuesday or Wednesday.
You mean you went against your rule?
I did with him because, Jim, the knee was not that serious to start with, but he's a 5th-year senior. For me to hold him out of that last game in the stadium, I don't think it's set too well.
And it obviously set well with you when you came out in the 3rd quarter of this one, and the defense again held them into the wind.
Right. We kicked off and with the wind naturally and held them, forced the kick, got field position. Came down here. This is a 3rd and 3, pitches it out to Leroy. He breaks a couple tackles, gets a first down. That was a key.
You started the drive inside the 50.
Right. And here he goes again, breaking up the middle, and does a great job of running.
That's your fullback showing those tailback moves.
Well, he can play either position, really. I believe he's good enough to do that. Here, Bunch bangs his way in. I don't know whether they were a little bit surprised we gave it to the fullback on that play and got in rather easily.
That drive and that score on your first possession, 3rd quarter, was real big, wasn't it?
Well, I thought that was very important because that really put him in a bind. They're 18 points down now, and it's kind of difficult. If we hadn't missed all those tackles in there and let this guy run for 50 yards. Fortunately, David Key is faster than he is, and he caught him down there.
Well, that really did. That saved you, because they could have gotten some momentum back if they go in to score, but you stop them and force them to go for 3.
Finally stop them. They go for 3, and it's 24-9, and we have a 15-point bulge now, but that's not good enough. Not against a great passer. Here's a big 3rd and 1. Tracy Williams breaks across the 50. For a first down. You never want to feel secure, Jim, when you've got a guy like Jeff George back there throwing that ball.
And I want you to know your passer found some open people today.
Right, he sure did. The reason for that, Jim, is when you're running the football well, those people have to be more concerned with run than pass, and they leave themselves a little bit vulnerable. 3rd and 7, he hits Jeff Brown, our other tight end here, for a first down, and we're down in there again. And right at the beginning of the 4th quarter, Tracy Williams dives in for the touchdown.
That was on a 4th and goal. Any thought at that point of kicking the field goal?
Yes, oh yes. Thought about it. decided against it. Even if we didn't make it, they'd have to go 99 plus to get something on the board.
Defense finally got to Jeff George.
Right. He's difficult to get to. He knows how to release the ball. He moves very well. Finds the open area where he can step up to throw. But we did a good job on him overall. Here, first down pass to McMurtry, and we're down in there ready to go again. Here's Leroy dodging a couple guys. That wasn't exactly a beautifully blocked play in any way, shape, or form, but Leroy did a good job of it. And here Leroy bangs in for the touchdown. That makes it 38-9.
And the win sends you to Pasadena and the Rose Bowl, and as we saw at the beginning of the show, the kids had to be delighted. And I think one of your more proud moments of this team coming out of the gate 0-2, having the injuries against Minnesota and coming back and winning this game in convincing fashion. Had to be real nice.
I think so, and I always said from the very beginning, Jim, I like this team. I like the people on it. I thought it had a lot of potential to be a real good football team. And then all of a sudden, key people were lost. You know, we lost John Herman early, a starting tackle, and then Arnold went out for a while, and now J.J. Grant's lost for the rest of the season. And then Michael Taylor. When you lose your quarterback, that's a big loss. And then we lost our two tailbacks. Why things started to get a little scary. But then these guys came through and won it, and I was tickled with that.
And the Rose Bowl is going to be a Michigan Rose Bowl this year against somebody from the Pac-10. We don't know who just yet. But before we get to all of that, there's one more regular season game and a facilities facelift. That's next when Michigan Replay continues.
It's a lot sweeter because this year, a lot of guys that just watched the last time we went got a chance to contribute and show that they were capable. And with the injuries, it showed a lot of depth and a lot of character on this team. And, you know, if somebody else got hurt, you know, the coach would know.